Previously on whatever this shit is. Oh, you thought you were getting the normal voice? Well, I can do that song and dance too. When last we left our heroes, Aizen, a bitch, Karma, a bigger bitch, and Emiria, new bitch. Well, they had just found out the big fuck up they did. But like all family reunions, the worst is yet to come. Hope you guys enjoy yourselves. I'll be around. So, you all stand here in front of the corpses of the gods. You see a ring of 5 chairs, all equidistant, spaced apart. The bodies themselves are... It's a strange sensation. You can feel power radiating off of them. You can feel the divine energy. And Aizen, even as you look at the cold corpse of Odar, the Lord of Thunder and Lightning and Weather, you can...
Who the fuck have I been talking to?
Right?
You feel the same energy. You feel that divine power. Every time you rarely tap into some of your clerical side, that energy is the same. Nothing's changed in terms of that, but it's almost like it's as though you cross suspended animation and mummification. They're there, but they're definitely deceased. You can even see, on some of them, you can see some of the wounds still fresh, as though freshly cut. You can see, some of them have, scratches and scars with blood kind of running down the side of their face or down an arm here or there. It's equal parts curious and terrifying at the same time. And you watch Kronos just kind of floating there silently, just kind of letting you take it in as you will.
Is one of these Kronos' body, or is...
Nope, you don't see Kronos' body. You do see an empty 6th seat, though.
So,
What the fuck?
what happened?
Karma's asking Kronos.
Time.
You
Life?
killed them?
No, we cannot harm each other. It's the mandate of the Celestial. Passes on to our children as well.
Wait, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Ask your question.
Oh. Because I remember they were having the debate when they were to open the door. It's been a little bit. What was the whole dilemma of that? Because I know once we opened, we couldn't go back once we opened the door.
Opening the door broke the promise.
And the promise was to keep the door shut, to
The-
keep the secret of the god's death?
The promise, again, you guys haven't been told what the promise was. You were given it was explained to you as best it possibly could have been, and basically the promise involved the promise involved all of you, the gods, and the consequences of the Celestials' actions. But the promise was, part of the promise was to never unlock this door. And so by unlocking the door, you have undone that promise. And so whatever was bound to it, or whatever was binded to the to this promise, is gone now. So whatever magic is holding, but whatever magic was being held in place, whatever was being prevented, is just kind of in the wind now.
So the gods are already dead. The book said the
For
story.
many, many years, yes.
The book said the story of how the gods died, but it's still being written.
Yes. Amelia, roll me a wisdom save, please.
Wisdom save?
Yeah.
Core memory unlocked.
Cool.
The reverse robot. It's
Shut
broken.
up for like 5 seconds. 25.
25. Okay. You feel like a headache coming on, and you almost watch as like that projection of your true self almost steps away from your body for a moment, and you walk as it walks across the room, and kind of like runs its hand through the fountain at its center, and then it looks up at Kronos, gives a nod, and then returns back to you. And you feel this deep memory unlocking of a conversation you had eons ago, right after your awakening with Suriel. And you remember him telling you and talking to you about this book he was told to make by Kronos. It wouldn't have a title. It wouldn't have a story. It would be a chronicle of the world around him. And when the time was right, when the right people came along, the book's title and its contents would reveal themselves. And then he was handed his journal and sent on his way.
Alright, I'm gonna let the rest of the squad know that.
Okay. And Kronos kind of floats around a little bit, and
Who killed them?
You did.
I knew it.
You and all your brothers and sisters and all the other children that we foolishly created because we tried to escape the one reality that we shouldn't have. And that is time. I did warn them as best I could.
I don't understand. I am 20-something years old. I don't know how long we've been playing this game. I was 25 when we started. We probably crossed a birthday or a few for all of us, but we don't have time to get into all of that. I've never been in this room. Eisen, have you been in this room? Well, we've been in this room in our dreams, but I don't remember murdering anybody.
Is this like Applewood?
Apple bottom jeans.
Cherrywood.
Cherrywood. No. Have we been doing this? How long have we been doing this?
Are we in purgatory?
This is not purgatory. This is...
How many times have I opened that door?
This is the first, actually.
And you watch as Kronos kind of stops for a moment, and then, like, you watch as they, like, start to, like twitch and shake and convulse a little bit. And then you watch as all of the clockwork pieces that are on them begin to crumble away and, like, drift into dust. And you watch as that dust starts to float towards the empty chair and start to reform itself into, like, a very rough, sort of like almost similar to like what's going on with Emiria right now, almost like an after image of the same person or the same creature. And you watch as this happened, Kronos' voices start to fly out as well until you're only left with the voice you recognize as Timmy. And you see now, still floating, but instead of, like this 10.5 foot tall celestial, you now see about a maybe 5 foot, 6 foot tall, still clockwork sort of person, but sort of broken, and there's pieces missing. No left arm. One of the legs is broken. You can hear like the straining of clicking and winding, sort of like strained gears inside them. And if you look over at the chair, you can see that this sort of like after image of Kronos has like fully formed, very clearly deceased as well, in its chair. Just kind of seems to be waiting for something, and kind of this now reformed Kronos kind of looks around and looks down at itself, and it's like, oh, well, that was unexpected. And not, I guess. Kind of looking at their only working arm has like 3 fingers on it, and just like kind of looking at it. This is you 3. This is the prime timeline. There's many variations of you out there in the world, and a lot of lives you've lived, but it starts from somewhere. Every timeline has to. But I think to the more direct question, and she looks at you, Eisen, more importantly. What happened here is what happens to everyone eventually. Some people like to pretend that it doesn't happen. But I learned that looking into eons and eons and eons of time, the fatal lesson of gods and immortals. Entropy always comes for its due. Death is an inevitability. To you, even to me. Whether that is a biological death or something else entirely, kind of like holds their hands up to everything you see around us, well, you can see the aftermath. Time is our only immortal, no matter how much we trick ourselves otherwise. We turned on you. Our creations, our children, our world. And worse, I couldn't stop it. And I should have been able to. I'm sure Tony's told you a little bit about Asmar, right?
Yeah.
All their memories are stored in the soul. Why it's so important that you can destroy their body down to the atom. But if you can save the soul, everything comes flooding back. And they look at you, Emiria. You know a little bit about this.
Yeah, that's been recently relevant.
She's a robot.
Was.
A reverse robot.
Kronos sort of walks over to you and Eisen, Karma. And kind of stands there, holds their one sort of working arm out, and says, "May I?"
You.
A what?
I promised you enlightenment and answers, for good or for ill. That's all I can give, if you wish to go further.
Yes, please. Oh, I need to know.
Yeah. Karma, I guess what he's asking is take his hand. So Karma.
No, he doesn't. You don't need to touch his hand at all. He just
Okay.
sort of like you watch as a golden light softly begins to emanate from it. And it splits into two little balls and floats towards you and kind of sits maybe about eye level with both of you and just kind of sits there maybe like 6 inches away or so. And they like appear to be little mirrors, like not unlike the windows that you can see in the other room where you see like cherry wood and like the refracting, splitting timelines that are going on. It's like very similar to that. And you can see rapid moving images and sounds. It's like watching a fast forwarded movie on like 10 speed. Like you can just pick out some images and like a snippet of a word, but like it's very clearly there's a lot of stuff here. And Kronos kind of stops and says, I think I know your answer, but this is your last chance.
Eisen just like I like Eisen's like been like this whole time just like I need to like racking his brain like what the fuck's going on, like I need to know, and he's almost like I almost feel like he would be feeling right now. He's just like choking up almost, just kind of just like because he's wanted to know like what the fuck is going on for so long. He just like reaches out and like grabs it.
All right. Karma.
Karma hesitates at first, but when she sees Eisen grab it, she just takes it.
Has anything happened yet?
Nope. This will happen simultaneously.
Huh?
Okay.
I'm gonna put my hands on each of their shoulders, just like between the two of them.
Okay.
I see.
Karma's
Even though like I grab it first, do I notice Karma's hesitation?
I would assume this is happening at the same time. You just
Okay.
can't really talk at the same time. So, Karma, while Eisen reaches for his, what are you doing?
Because if I see that, I was gonna grab her hand.
And we'd be like a triangle. I think instinctually, then. I think instinctually they'd like. I feel like they'd both almost reach for each other's hands, as like even with Amiria's hands on their shoulders.
Even like we're looking at it, and our hands just kind of reach for each other's hands as we reach out to grab it.
With Amiria's hands on our shoulders, and then
Yes.
I think Karma kind of watches Eisen go for it first, and then she just grabs
All
it
right.
too.
As you both grab these balls and bring them towards you, you grab these small orbs of light and you bring them towards your chest. And as soon as it touches you, you are both enveloped in a golden cascade of ribboning lights. Bronze, silver, and almost like gold like chains shoot out of this orb and gently, not trapping you in any way, but you watch as they wrap around every limb of your body, each finger wrapped in like this fine filigree of like ethereal, celestial energy. And then as soon as it all settles and stops, both of your heads snap back. Your minds are flooded. And the first memory that comes to mind is you see a very familiar face. The first memory you have a very familiar face of a soft-faced drow, a warm smile. You recognize Jackson's face in front of you. The happiest you've ever seen anyone, probably in your entire lives. And he opens his mouth and he turns to some unseen figure and it's like, Father, they've awakened. They're here. And he turns back to both of you.
Why does Jackson sound like Mikhail?
Hello. It's so nice to meet the both of you. I'm Jackson. I'm your older brother. Well, kind of, sort of. He reaches to help both of you up, and as soon as he touches your hands, your minds are sent forward 10,000 years as you watch a play-by-play of some of your greatest moments. Eisen, you in the form of a giant minotaur, wandering a labyrinthian maze, chasing down a young man searching for something hidden within. Karma, you
You were the Minotaur.
remember you remember a beautiful young girl in the fields outside of this giant castle town. The breeze softly blowing in the winds. You can hear the smell of like horse beats and horse hoofs, and an unseen figure walks up to you off off to behind you. And it's like, and you speaking in a language that you recognize as Draconic, but something else entirely. You just hear, "Well, maids, we are here at Olion. What does God have for us next?" Wars and clashes and softer moments. Eisen, you're in a classroom for one of these lives. You teach some of the greatest minds of their generation. Karma, you create a beautiful kingdom in an unknown world full of vibrant life and bright, incredible just moments of happiness for groups of people that had nothing. And all of your minds fly forward until you arrive, just instinctively maybe about 1,000 years or so before all of your adventures started. And you're standing in this very room as every single one of your brothers and sisters is brought forward and towards all of you. And every Azamar that has ever existed is gathered in this throne room of your parents. And they deliver to you the message that you know you cannot fulfill. Our creations have turned against us. We must start anew. Cleanse the universe of all that stand against us. And in a snap, your minds are brought forward and you're standing in this room again. Amiria's hands on your shoulders, sort of the only thing keeping you grounded. Your hands clasped tightly together. And you watch as Kronos steps back, just kind of almost winded momentarily. It's like, huh. Memories. And now you know our terrible truth. I told them so much and so often. They needed to let go. They didn't need us anymore. But I suppose that's my other fatal flaw. I see everything at all times as it's happening. And that means you miss something. They gesture kind of to the other room. And in that gesture, you can tell they're kind of like pointing to the world. They didn't need us anymore. But we needed them. And it's as simple as that. Start a terrible war. But the right people won. You can see tears glistening in their eyes as they look at all of you. But it's a terrible thing to watch as your brothers and sisters have to be stopped by the things that you love the most. I'm sorry. This is not about me, my time. Well, it's rapidly running out. This is about you. I never thought we'd get to do this again. The promise was to protect the created. And as long as you did that, you would live forever. Always there, always working, always happy. And when we broke our half, that is when a new promise was made. The gods and their power locked away, available for the created to use, but never to access. And thus the lock was made. Looks at you, Amiria, sealed by 12 beautiful, beautiful children. And the Azamar sent on their ways to live their lives as they wanted to. You were given new places to go, new lives to live. And here we are. They're crying openly now, but also laughing. And after all of that, you still found each other.
Why does Mikhail remember?
He's one of you, just as much as you're one of him.
But he remembers without having been here. Also, in that memory, Jackson sounded like Mikhail.
As part of his punishment for leading the first rebellion against us before I realized what was wrong, I split him from himself. He was given Jackson, his physical form, and then Mikhail, his spirit, his memories. All. It was a mistake that I corrected, but couldn't undo with the rest of you.
That's why he remembers everything.
Yes.
What is he trying to do? What's
in here that they're dead? The dreadnought.
Look at them. They're dead, of course. But our power remains. Eisen, you've drawn on Odar's power. Every cleric and paladin, every person who turns to a god for help, they still have it. We created this world. Our blood flows in the water. Our flesh is in its stone. The worlds we created are as much our power as these corpses, but they are the source. If Mikhail gets these, all he needs is to harness their power and he will have the power of every god.
But why did he try to resurrect the god of death in a robot then? In a dreadnought?
He thought it was simpler than what it was. Your little experiment, well, his little experiment, and your response, it taught him something that he didn't know he needed, which was the spirit of a god is not where its power lies. The spirit lies in its physical form.
Does this mean that Eisen's been talking to a ghost?
He's been talking to me.
You are him? You are.
Guidance was right.
I had a role to fill. For how long, I didn't know, but my job was to make sure that nobody asked too many questions.
Now that the door's open,
We've been a monotheistic culture for 1,000 years.
what happens? Has the promise been broken, do we? Now that that's happened, what happens?
Like I said before, a door unlocked can be opened by anyone. If no one finds their way here, then absolutely, everything will be fine and continue as is. Though, a lot of memories and forgotten things are about to start to leak into the world.
That's right. The memory of the war was taken. No one remembers it. All the stuff we couldn't read.
How do we stop? It won't just be Mikhail, there'll be others who want this. This power.
There are others that already know, because Mikhail's told them.
I suppose this is what I was waiting for. To reseal the gate, you must kill a god.
Wait,
It was by our death that the lock was laid, and by our death again that it must be, well, relocked or not.
I have another question.
Yes.
Tony,
Yes.
how does he know about being an Azamar and past that? Is he...
All children, all of the Azamar, they had the choice to live with all their memories intact outside of the war, and they could start life anew, or they could choose new lives, fresh slates. That's what you two chose. Looking at you, Eisen and Karma.
Oh my god, is Eisen my brother?
No. You come from different gods, different families.
Is Eisen my cousin?
No. Family is more of a term to... You haven't been living as yourselves for a while. I'm trying to, I guess, ease everyone back into it.
Oh, thank God.
So it's like Percy Jackson rules. God's side don't count.
Okay, Karma can't know what Percy Jackson is.
I really love this. There's this really cool.
We've made too many fucking meta jokes. I accidentally added the Infinity Stones to this fucking game without meaning to whatsoever.
Whoopsies.
Don't fucking sue me, Disney, okay?
Right, Disney has Percy Jackson now too.
They do. They also have that.
So, first of all, thank God. Second of all, wait, there are no gods.
Wait a minute. Does
Gosh.
does that make us specifically children of gods? Or just creations of, like, we weren't born in the memories. We weren't like born. We just were.
It's a difficult concept for.
Do we have god dads?
It'd be like, is it almost like I guess to just link it to like something that some of us might understand, except like especially since a lot of us went to like Christian school and shit. Would it be like the angels that were kind of like both created by God, but also just kind of there? Like, there's not really a lot talking about how the
Is
angels
this
came to
like-
be.
Is this like Lucifer?
The
Yeah.
best description for this, I guess the best idea for this would be is that you were born. All Azamar are born, and they come from a celestial. So a celestial, we'll use Aizen as the example. In your case, Aizen, you're a child of Odar. So Odar took a small piece of his power and blew life into that and created you. So you were born, but you're not. You're born, but not of how most people would traditionally consider a birth.
Gotcha.
And
like
so
Adam.
and
from
and
Adam and
what
Eve,
and what
the
happens
Bible.
and what happens is when it comes to the other like lives you've lived, think of that. I guess that would be more of a Catholic metaphor of like angels being sent on missions. So like what you were doing was necessary for a thing, and then you would return here to the Pantheon and then be sent out on another mission.
Gotcha. Makes sense. So each god like breathes life into the Azamar, kind of like how God like would have breathed life into like Adam
and then
Eve.
and gods would work together and things like that. So it's like it's kind of like I think of it more of like a tinkerer's workshop, making a bunch of actually no, a better think of like how like when you if you've got any coding knowledge and you've got something that really annoys you, so you create an app to fix your annoyance. That's kind of what the Azamar were. It's like, oh shit, I need a hero for I need a hero for this specific point in history in this universe. I'm going to create
In a way that's kind of like demigods too.
yeah, I'm
Like
going to
from the Greek
create this. I'm
mythology.
going to create this Azamar to deal with my problem here. And I'll create
Gotcha.
this one to deal with that problem, this one to deal with that problem. So like all of you are in the same way that the 12 all have titles and things that they were best suited for. It's the same with Azamar. So I guess like even you would be able to remember this. Like Aizen, you were a warrior. You were usually a frontline, sort of like a soldier, a leader, somebody who was meant to inspire, to show what people could be the best of. Karma, you were an intellectual, a poet, an artist. You were a reflection of what could be aspired to, both physically and mentally. So it's reflections. A lot of what you guys do is in your Azamar duties were reflections of what you were needed for. And as you guys kind of like take all this information and as you look down at yourselves, not unlike what you see with Emiria, how she has an after image of her true form. Aizen and Karma, like as you look at like your hands and like kind of your body, you see like this swirling miasma of after images. Thousands of different lives kind of all melded on top of one another. And you can kind of like, as you move your hand back and forth or like look at yourself and the reflection of the water, you see different faces, different people, different creatures that you've been over your many lives and the many things that you did. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
If Eisen was a child or Asmar of Odar, what about me?
Kronos gives a small smile, and you see like kind of a they had stopped crying, but like a single tear kind of runs down their face, and they look at you, Karma. It's like, you were one of mine. I tried not to play favorites, but you were always special.
Oh.
Whenever I
twiddles with her fingers.
Whenever I needed someone to... Whenever truth was needed, that was your job. And like, kind of reaches out, and you like, they don't, they still only have like the one hand with the three fingers on, but they reach out and like, they move to caress your cheek. They don't actually caress your cheek, they kind of caress the after images. So many faces.
Miria kind of looks at her sword and looks at Karma and has the sense of guilt of like, was I supposed to give this to you since that's your dad?
Oh boy. I mean, Karma's a
Doesn't hand
wizard.
it back to you. 'Cause, like,
Karma with a sword would just be like, I smack it.
I mean, I'm a with a sword. It's also pretty weird.
A smack it.
Kronos looks at you, Amiri, and it's like, it was always meant for you. It got to you in a more roundabout fashion than I would have liked, but... You'll need that. For more than you know.
Speaking of needing things, we needed the 12 last time to create the lock. That's going to be problematic if we need them again.
There is another option. As part of the gift I left all of you, I couldn't tear from you your ability to continue, to live beyond. If this, and kind of gestures to like, just kind of gestures in like a way of saying like, everything. If this hadn't happened, when when your bodies expired, you would have awoken again somewhere new. Somewhere interesting. I had already taken so much, I couldn't take that. But if you are willing to sacrifice your immortality, a new lock may be formed.
And we also know Mikhail wants the power.
Mikhail wouldn't
What if
have-
we can kill Mikhail while he's a god?
Then we'd have to kill a god. And do we know for a fact that the three of us could kill a god?
You have everything that you need. Both here, and and Kronos points at like your heart. Here, points at your guys' heads. And here, and holds out their palm, and you see the images of all of the weapons, the artifacts, and the gems floating kind of like in a little like circle of like little holographic after images. And you notice in the center of it, in the center, you notice like a wisp of like blue, sort of like white, cloudy smoke. You have everything you need. It's about how to approach it.
Well, we don't have some of those.
We're also not very good at planning things.
Oh, trust me, I know that.
She says that, and Isen's like, kind of like, yeah, like looks away type of thing. Like, shut up.
Like,
Yeah, the
Like,
whole like hand above the.
bad news.
Eisen tries.
Wait a minute. What's the? You had said there was like a wispy thing.
Yeah, there's a little wisp of like smoke and blue cloud.
Does it look? Oh, is that like just for flavor, or is it like meant to represent something?
It represents something you've seen before.
What happens if
Something we've seen this blue cloud?
first?
And then all the other holograms disappear, and you see two faces floating in their palm. You see Jackson and Mikhail.
Is the blue cloud them?
Jackson's soul, remember?
Oh.
It's like, and Kronos looks at all of you. Never tried reversing it before. I honestly don't know what'll happen.
Alright. You suggesting that we put that thing back where it came from?
So help us.
There we go.
I was gonna try to barrel right through that without letting you guys finish it. Of course not. What was I thinking?
Kronos looks at all of you and it's like, a soul. You three are a perfect example of this. A soul wants to be where it should be. It knows its home. And Jackson knows, I think on some level.
Isn't he? Wait. Question: did we go over the? We went over this, right? That like Jackson is Mikhail and
They're
Mikhail
split.
is Jackson.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're split.
What? So what happens if we combine the two personalities back again?
I don't know.
Hopefully he'd be less of a flaming douchebag.
That would be nice.
I don't know. Like I said, never tried reversing it.
So you how to do it either.
Oh, no, it's quite simple. You get the soul, you kind of let nature take its course at that point.
I mean, it's kind of what happened to me and why I am not currently a robot.
Yours was...
Except I'm pretty sure I'm like the shitty Wish version of it.
What was done...
$5. Took
The
me-
AliExpress version.
took 6 months to get there.
What happened to you, Amiria, was wrong. A crime. Oddly enough, it's the mortal version of what I did. Maybe the reverse will fix what I broke. If there's one thing I've learned, especially from watching the three of you, is that the gods knew much less than we needed to. And you all filled in the gaps. We should have learned from that. If there is one thing I place faith in, it is the ingenuity of those who, in the midst of catastrophe and war and endless suffering, still found a way to persevere.
Right, well, how do we close? All right, so we can close the gate. We have the ability, right?
Yes.
So what are we waiting for?
Yeah, we should handle this before Mikhail gets a chance to do anything stupid.
Doesn't.
And as you say all that, you hear from the back of the Pantheon just a slow clapping sound. Oh, aren't family reunions just so fucking wonderful? That is where we will end our session for today.
Motherfucker.
Thank
Speak
you
of
all
the
so
goddamn
much.
devil.
Thank you all so much for joining us for another episode of Dances with Dice. Please follow us on all social media platforms at Dances with Dice. When you use the hashtag DWDcast or DWDart, we will use you as named NPCs in the show, which is wrapping up. So, if you want to get in there now. But thank you all so much for joining us, and join us every single Tuesday for new episodes of Dances with Dice.
Funny thing is, like you say, speak of the devil, and it's very fitting because he is in this story. He is almost like Lucifer. He's like almost like the first rebellion, person to rebel and then gets cast out and all this shit, and then has very, very much like God parent issues.
Listen, I don't drift that
Daddy
far.
issues.
I don't drift that. Listen, I have a lot of Catholic trauma I'm working
This
through.
podcast is more